Backyard wrestling. Backyard wrestling BYW, also referred to as yarding or backyarding, is an underground hobby and sport involving untrained practices of professional-style wrestling, typically in a low-budget environment, such as a backyard. Although not legitimized, backyard wrestling is often organized into federations. Most backyard wrestlers are merely emulating modern wrestling, though a small percentage have experience from enrolling in wrestling school or from referring to how-to guides on the web. History. Pro wrestling personnel are generally opposed to backyard wrestling. Its peak years of popularity were 1996–2001, during the boom period of professional wrestling notorious as the Attitude Era, when high-risk stunts exerted a strong influence on the wrestling fan base, particularly those performed by Mick Foley. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, backyard wrestling often appealed to media as a good-natured topic, but it increasingly turned reckless and ultra-violent, worrying parents and wrestling companies. In response, WWE began airing advertisements, stressing the dangers and seeking to deter fans from duplicating the actions seen in their ring. In addition to actual backyards, backyard wrestling can occur in spaces including parks, fields, and warehouses. Initially camcorder, filmed events were shared person to person. Increasingly public access television and the internet have come to be used. It has also broken into the media with several Best of Backyard Wrestling volumes produced, 2 video games entitled Backyard Wrestling, Don't Try This at Home. In an interview, the director Paul Ho compared the backyard to Beyond the Mat, but with yarders. In May 2015, Global News ran a story on the VBW, a backyard wrestling organization in the Pacific Northwest who produce wrestling episodes for public streaming services. The segment, hosted by sports director and anchor Squire Barnes, follows the crew as they prepare for the release of the organization's biggest event, Yardstock 2015. In 2016, List Productions released a 2-hour documentary titled The Link, chronicling over a decade of backyard wrestling beginning in the early 2000s with participants across the United States, Canada, and the UK, as well as their footprint in the professional wrestling business to this day. Television. MTV True Life, I'm a Backyard Wrestler. Squire's Take, Low-Budget Backyard Wrestling. The Ricky Lake Show, Backyard Bloodbath. Films and documentaries. The Backyard, Best of Backyard Wrestling Vol. 1-6. CNN News Backyard Beatdown 2006 Hardcore vs. Non. Traces of Death v. Back in Action. Backyard Dogs, Dogs, Dogs. NWF Kids Pro Wrestling. The Untold Story. The Link documentary. Backyard Wrestling 2002, Death documentary 2007. The Backyard Wrestler, The Life and Times of a Stunt Crew 2020. Video games. Backyard Wrestling, Don't Try This at Home. Backyard Wrestling 2, There Goes the Neighborhood,